I mean, I grew up in Iceland, which is like a very small country. It's like 350,000 people. And the thought of getting to do something like this was just completely, you know, something out of my dreams and something I wouldn't even dare to dream. So it feels really special.
And the fact that your music has just reached so many people in such a short span of time.
It means so much. It's like, it's so cool. I had, you know, such a multicultural kind of background. My mother's Chinese and my father's Icelandic, and then I grew up in the States as well to get to bring the project to different countries and different cultures. Just, it means a lot. I think it's really fun.
And since you did bring up your family history, musicians, I mean, music was pretty much part of your everyday life. Yeah. I would think. I mean, your sister is here with you. Your twin is here with you. So hi. Of course. And she does the violin, right? Your mom does the violin.
Yes.
Your dad's a big jazz fan.
Yeah.
Right? And all of these things. But when did you discover your love for music? Or, I mean, the passion? I mean, it was there.
Yeah.
I mean, but sometimes you don't have to love what's there, right?
Right.
I mean, when did it all start sinking in? And this is definitely going to be my life.
I think, well, growing up, music was like, I started playing piano at 4, you know. My mother, you know, you just start at 4, no questions asked, you start playing piano. And then I started playing cello, and it was almost like another class at school. You know, I didn't think too much of it. It was like, you go to school, you have math, you have science, history, and then you have music after school. And I think it was like when I was 13 or 14 where my mother, you know, she was, you know, she pushed us like when we were growing up, and, you know, made sure that we practiced. And then when we turned 14 or 15, she was like, I've done my job. You do what you want. Like, if you enjoy it, you continue. But I've, you know, done my job. And I think around that time was also the time that I started playing in orchestra and chamber music, and it became kind of like a social thing.
Okay.
So I was like, see friends at the music school. And I think that's when I really started to love it. And I also had started singing at that point. And it was kind of like a couple of waves of realization. I think after I started writing when I was like in college, and like when I was 19 or 20. And that was when I was like, yeah, like I have to do this. Like I'd finally found a way to mix, you know, my jazz influences and my classical influences, but also kind of more modern songwriting technique together. And I remember just thinking, like, I think maybe I can do something with this. I remember there was one moment, the very beginning of the pandemic, when I just started. I think it was like something happened on social media. I think just like some sort of, all of a sudden I started getting a lot of followers out of nowhere, which sounds like, you know, a weird thing to pin it to. And I remember I looked in the mirror thinking, wait, do I have like a job now? Am I like a singer by trade? And I remember I looked in the mirror, I was like, I think I do. And then also, I mean, there are moments like when I got to play on the Jimmy Kimmel show in January of last year. I think that was like a big like whoa moment.
You also mentioned somewhere in you know, an interview that you had way back when that it actually took you some time to figure out your song or your style, or was it something that just came easy and this is what I'm going to do?
No, not at all. You know, I started singing when I was like 12 or 13, just doing talent shows in Iceland, and everyone exactly, and everyone was telling me, and I was covering other people's songs, of course, and a lot of people were telling me like, oh, you should write your own songs.
Okay.
And I remember I had this very odd mix of being like a singer, like I was singing jazz songs like when I was like 12 or 13, and then I was also playing classical cello and piano, but then I was like listening to a lot of Taylor Swift. So it was like this odd mix of sounds that I was really obsessed with. And everyone was saying, like, Laufey, you should write. And I tried, and it just it felt so uncomfortable to me. I think because I grew up a classical musician where you play other composers' music, and I didn't feel confident enough to be making my own music. I was like, oh, people are going to judge me so much.
Yes.
And I don't know, I think it also took moving out of my home, moving alone to Boston to go to university to, you know, experience real life. And like, I started like dating a little bit for the first time, like having these adult experiences, which kind of led to me being able to write about it, you know, because otherwise I was just sitting at home practicing. So I think something clicked in that moment where I finally found a way to bring it all together.